Welcome back to Naruto Special, Naruto Anime Special, and Special number 13. Yeah, this I'm viewing the third light novel release for the Bard light novel series. This is Shikamaru, Mourning Clouds. Yep. Also, this is by far the most recent book released. Yes, I do still know about Steam Ninja Scrolls. I haven't read it yet, so don't spoil it for me. Now, this book, here's something quite interesting about this book. Now, they reference in this book, they reference the very first, the original Shikamaru light novel, the one that was adapted for the anime. You know, the one where he goes to Land of Silence. They reference that in here. Plus, this thing makes it interesting though. If you're reading the manga and if you're watching the anime at this point, they mention that there is a reference in here to the Meiji Bandits arc. Yes, that actually takes place during this very story. This is simply put what Shikamaru was up to during all this. And here's something surprisingly though. Shikamaru appears the entire story. He's not like the way he is with Sasuke, where he leaves the story briefly. Oh no, he's here the whole time. From beginning to end, it's all about Shikamaru. Oh yeah, and here's something interesting though. He apparently is doing a lot more smoking. We also see appearances by his beautiful wife Tamari, his son Shikamaru, and no, he does not stick his tongue out in the book. There's this whole thing about it's a drag. There is references to the Fourth Ninja War in here. Several times it's brought up in here. Like, if you basically, this is a lot of continuity nod at this one. Like I said, the first Shikamaru light novel, the Meiji Man, that particular arc takes place during one of the chapters of this book. Yes. It's I think it's in the trenches, I believe it is. It's only about 4 chapters. The book itself is surprisingly like a little bit shorter than the last book I reviewed. Yeah, that was 146 pages. I think this one was slightly longer. This one is 156. Now, this whole story is basically focused on Shikamaru. Unlike in the case of the Sasuke story, where a lot of it's focused on, well, most mix of Sasuke and Boruto, this one is all Shikamaru. All about him. He's the star. Not his son, Shikamaru. Okay, perfectly fine. It's put basically what he was up to. Like, if you're watching the Meiji Bandits, like, this is basically what Shikamaru was up to off screen. Oh, and here's something interesting though. Like, during the Meiji Bandits arc, there is this special meeting that Naruto has called with the Daimyo of the Land of Fire. This book explains the reasoning behind that, because if you read the manga, there's no explanation for it at all. Not even the anime. It's like, oh, there's this 5 Kage summon going on. And here, basically, now the story of this one is this. Like, there's something really strange. Now, basically, the thing starts out with Shikamaru waking up, and apparently he fell asleep in his clothes. Oh yeah, and here's something quite stupid. If you're a married man, if you do this, your wife would basically probably yell at you for it. Look up personally, for me, I've never seen it, but no, I'm not married, in case you're wondering. I'm still single. Now, he forgot something really important. Did he forget his wife's birthday? No. Did he forget his son's birthday? No. Something even bigger than his wife's birthday. Their anniversary. He completely forgot about it. He actually regrets doing that. So later on, he does go to Ino's shop. Yeah, Ino briefly appears in the book. And he buys her a whole bunch of flowers as an apology. And she accepts the apology. The flowers are very good. Probably for her, probably a very good anniversary present. Yep. So the story for this one is this, is that Shikamaru basically, there's a 5 Kage summon going on. And here's another big continuity nod here. This is of course not long after the events of the Chunin exam. Yep, Chunin exam has already happened. They also mentioned that Shikadai was offered a position to work for a bodyguard for a special, like a Dami, like an escort mission. And Shikadai said no. The reason for it is, oh yeah, it's just a drag. The actual reason for it is they don't really say. He just turns him down. Mogi appears several times in the story, just at one point to apologize to Shikamaru. Well, not just because he's the advisor to Hokage, but because he's also the father of one of her students, Shikadai. So, she has a very good reason to appear in the book. Now, in case you're curious, though, does Boruto appear in the book? Well, aside from a small reference to him, mentioning what happened in Meiji Bandits arc, which, by the way, that actually, there's a portion that sets up that arc, by the way, from Shikamaru's perspective. Boruto himself does actually not appear in the book. And you're probably thinking, really? a series set in the series of Boruto, and Boruto does not make a physical appearance. There's a mention of him, but not there. Also, like half the time read this book, Shikamaru is smoking. Also, here's something might interesting though. Mari appears in the story. Yes, Mari, Ashima and Kurenai's daughter. She briefly appears in the book, and they have her scene take place just prior to her appearance in the manga, which, kudos. So, a lot of basically of expansion of basically, if you read the manga or just watch the anime, a lot of expansion here, which I at least appreciate that. Not like the first book that's written by completed person, is written by Tagashi Yano. He's the writer of this book. Of course, Kishimoto does the illustration for this book, obviously. Excuse me. Now, the story for this one is like, there's a Kage someone going, and they mentioned about the stuff happening during the Chunin exam, where there was one person, there was, I think it was Kobuti, I think his name is, the scientist guy who was under a genjutsu, which is later revealed in the Kara, where Karasuchi is not very happy with Naruto because of keeping secrets, and he wanted to basically declassify the Hidden Leaf's intelligence. He says he'll think about it, and then later on they have another Kage summit, and before this, Shikamaru contacts the two people from his own standalone light novel. Yes, Himiko and Ro. He contacts these two, a guy and a girl. And Himiko does not become public her real name for reasons. Of course, I'm a Black Ops. And of course, according to Shikamaru, you might find this interesting though. That was his first and only Anbu Black Ops mission he ever went on. Everyone thinking, really? Yeah, that was the only one he ever went on. Which, that was interesting. Which, kudos for that. So, they go to the Hidden Stone Village. And what does he do there? He goes on a personal visit. And he plays shogi with Okanai. Which, that is great. Gotta love the fact Okanai is here. This, of course, well before his death in the very disappointing Mitsuki Disappearance arc, by the way. Yep. Plays shogi with him. Talk about, basically, what his granddaughter was up to. And, of course, Mika the granddaughter shows up here and figure out what the heck she's up to. And during the course of this, Shikamaru finds out, oh crap, the land of Earth wants to plan an invasion of the land of flowers. Yes, he wants to plan an invasion of flowers. Now, this is planned by the daimyo. Now, Kurasushi does not want anything to do with this at all, but she has to because her village is in the land of Earth, so she has no choice in the matter. The reason for this is the daimyo is greedy. Danjo, his name is. So, they have Naruto contact the daimyo land of fire. And this is the reason for Daimyo's visit in the Boruto series. And that later leads into the events in the Meiji Bandits arc. And of course, Shikamaru is actually quite happy with what happened in that arc, despite the fact he basically had the Daimyo's son be bait for kidnappers. And of course, Call of Death. So they basically have a small conference with the Daimyos. And then later on, we have a continental summit where they actually bring in the Land of Flowers. And point out, though, that the invasion is utter bullcrap. Now, here's the thing. Dorai, he is the Razakage at this point. When he finds out the Land of Earth wants to invade the Land of Flowers, he is, rightfully so, he is upset. And in order to calm down the situation between him and Kurasuchi, Shikamaru uses the Shell Paralysis Jutsu on them. And Naruto's like, really, dude? What are you using this for? Stop it. It's like, let him calm down first. And, like, heck, he even calls him out in his office over this later on. He says, oh, it's just for a gamble. And basically, Shikamaru is basically, because he's a genius, like, he always, whenever he does something, he always has a plan behind it. Yeah, the guy is a very good strategist. No wonder why he's Naruto's advisor. So, later on, of course, he has a big conversation with Naruto on the roof of the Hokage mansion. And, of course, he's up there for a smoke, because he can't smoke in the office because Naruto's like smoking. And you might find this interesting, though. Shikamaru is probably by far the only character currently who smokes. The only character to smoke in this series was Ashima. Well, you can kind of count the third Hokage in that. He did smoke, but not cigarettes. He smoked pipe. Did anybody else ever smoke in the series? Surprisingly, no. Only about 3 people ever did. Here's one for you. Did Konohamaru pick up the smoking habit? Nope, never did. Excuse me. Did Koronai? Nope, never did. Just Ashima, the third Hokage, and Shikamaru. And that's it. And you're probably thinking, has Shikadai picked up the smoking habit? Surprisingly, no. Which is a good thing. And, of course, I love the interactions Shikamaru has with Shikadai in here. They're very minor at best. Inojin very briefly appears in the book. Choji appears a couple times. Heck, there's the appearance by Choji. Which, that's quite nice. Because, well, they appeared in the Shikamaru light novel, so in the first one, so one appeared too. But I like that one where they actually play a really big support around the book. Here, their appearance are just nothing more than a cameo. Yes, Choji is reduced to a cameo. And here's something surprising, though. Naruto appears as a supporting character in the book, which makes sense. It's not his story. And unlike in the case of the last one, where he appears a few times sporadically, here he appears whenever it's necessary. And they have the summit, and basically they have 2 proposals on the table. They call it a summit because the Daimyo Land of Fire wants to cede some land to the land of Earth in order to prevent this invasion. And Naruto's like, okay, but I'll also declassify some secrets here to the 5 villages. And surprisingly, everybody, and here's the thing, we don't hear the end result of this because this is all told from Shikamaru's perspective, and he falls asleep. Yeah, when Karasuchi basically gave her victory speech basically because they won, he just fell asleep. Because, well, it's such a drag. Yep. And of course, later in the story, he gives the flowers to Tamari, which she does forgive him for forgetting about their anniversary. And she does admit she was a little angry at him for doing that. But everything's a hunky-dory. It seems as though a lot of the time, basically, with Shikamaru's in here is like, okay. Yeah, he just basically doesn't know how to react to stuff very well. Yeah, that's how the writer writes him in here, which is a bit different than how he does it in, like, in the regular series. He reacts normally. He's like, okay, catch you later. He's, like, very nonchalant about his reactions, basically, when he agrees to stuff. That's simply how he's written here, because he's a laid-back character. And this is more probably in tune with how he's written in the main series than he was in the previous light novel, which, okay, it's different per se, but it's typical Shikamaru. Also, one thing I've never really get, okay, like, this book does not explain it here. Oh yeah, in case you're curious about that little cloak, that's from Naruto's cape that he wears. Where did Shikamaru get that ring? Yeah, that's something that has never explained in the series. Where did he get the ring? I'm sure he probably, the outfit he wears now, he bought that. Where his ninja headband is, I have no idea. I mean, here's something strange, though. Like, the only person who keeps around ninja headband is Sasuke, surprisingly. No one else bothers to wear that anymore, which I'm like, that's kind of weird. Are they all basically retired? Shikamaru still technically is active, despite the fact he's basically well, he's mainly in charge of, well, if you know, basically, by the way, I give this book roughly a 10 out of 10. Great story. Now, a lot of the characters do have their own positions. The only one technically doesn't is actually a couple of them who don't. Choji, don't know what his job is currently in the current landscape. Ino has got the flower shop, and she's the head of the intelligence department. Sai is in charge of Black Ops. Sasuke is more like a substitute Hokage and basically gather intelligence. You're like, okay, Shikamaru, of course, is the advisor. In the case of Kiba, he's basically a police officer. That's basically his job now. Rock Lee, not really sure what he's up to because they don't really feature him very much. Yeah, his appearances in the Boruto series it's just as sporadic as Kiba's is, but you don't exactly know what his job is anymore. Not really know. Tenten, of course, is in charge of her own weapons shop, obviously. Shino was a teacher. Anko put on weight. Of course, Naruto's Hokage. Hinata is a housewife. And so was Tamari. She, of course, mostly put is a active ninja for the Hidden Leaf Village. Plus, she works as a housewife, too. She basically does whatever she's called to do. She's basically a reserve ninja, I would say. Hinata is kind of the same way too, but never clarified exactly for her. She's one of those few characters they don't really clarify what her job is anymore. You might think, okay, then what about Sakura? She's the head of the medical department for the Hidden Leaf Village. She's pretty much taken over Tsunade's job. She's basically the head of the medical corps. Mostly because she runs the Hidden Leaf Hospital. That's her job now, which makes sense. And of course, Aruka is the head of the Ninja Academy. Yep. And of course, Naruto points out in this main book here that he does not want another 4th Ninja War. The way this Daimyo wants, but he wants to start a 5th Great Ninja War, which Naruto's like, no, we don't need that at all. And yeah, he has experience it, but he wasn't fighting the 4th Ninja War at the first. He came in a day late because he was training. And he is considered to be a veteran in the war, despite the fact he only fought in 2 of the 3 days of the war. Yeah, the war itself lasts for 3 days. Have you ever heard of a large epic scale war that lasted for 3 days that is not the weekly war between Israel and like Egypt, whatever? That was a week, but yeah, that is the shortest war I've ever heard of in fiction. I've heard wars in other franchises that lasted for over 100 years. Or even like 20, 50 years. Long time. Years. Not a few days. That was really weird. But that's what the series is. Yep. Oh yeah, in case you're curious though, in case the Boruto light novels, I think this is by far as I can tell, excuse me, this is the most recent book released. They haven't released any more yet, surprisingly. No, they haven't. Yeah, there's technically about one more left, per se. Yeah, there's still, like, the Ninja Scrolls, and there's the Rashomon books. Yeah, those books are left. There's a few of them left, but that's it, per se. Yeah, there's about there's like those 3 left. Now, in case you're curious, though, like, is there any other, like, how should I put this? Any Naruto-like novels I'm going to review? Well, there is going to be one for Atashi. But aside from that, that's pretty much it for light novels, personally, unless somehow they come with another one. Okay, so that's it for Cyclo Review, and that's it for today. Stay tuned for tomorrow for, well, a lot of videos. A lot of them. Okay, see the video. Bye.